for this is for YouTube. Hi everyone. Thank you, Rodin, for doing that start from us because Tech decided it wasn't going to play today. So I am here too. And you've done a really wonderful introduction, and we'll possibly just do a little bit more again because this will go onto YouTube as well. So I've been able to share it across. So today, Rodin kindly introduced what we're talking about, these intense emotions and how to deal with them and getting your thoughts around that and how to use art. So would you like to keep on sort of having a chat now, or would you like me to carry on?
Well, how was your week? And
Well,
or how does this show up for you?
Well, it's interesting because what came through for me, and then we agreed we do like intense emotions. I seem to be needing to experience some old emotions that I haven't for a long time, forgotten what they were like, for me to be able to then share them again. And so this last week, through a series of events, I triggered back into that shame. Very, very painful because I'd forgotten what it was like. And I realized as I've come out of or coming out of it, like that bout of depression, is that how long I'd lived in it, in that intense emotion. And I've learned since the difference between toxic shame and normal shame, as they call it. And it's been really interesting. Have you ever felt that intense feeling of shame, or anyone watching us or replay?
How do you mean? Because I was thinking of that, trying to can you give an example? And it doesn't have to be from your life, but just an example of what that might be.
Well, the example is, and I'm going to look, so shame is, when I looked it up, shame can be normal in that it doesn't live with you. So you might say or do something that goes against your values or your community, or you do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. So you feel ashamed that you said that, did that, because it goes against who you are and what you believe in.
Right.
Rectifiable, it's that situation, it's sort of like complete in that time. Whereas toxic shame is where it comes from, now I'm talking again from my experience, but most of us from childhood, where you, and I like this, how Brené Brown explains it. Shame is you feel you're a bad person, so you feel inherently unloved, not valued, you're a bad person. Whereas guilt is you've done something bad, or you feel guilty because you haven't done something. But there can also be a toxicity in that too, when you feel you have to. So for me, I'm going to just say shame for now, is that when it stays with you, that terrible shame, and it's that sense of, now for me, my how it used to be less, now it didn't come up this time that way, but that shame is where in your body your heart beats, you become a bit clammy, and then you can feel that heat rising. Your face, now in my case, my face goes really red because I'm blonde and fair skinned. And not only, it's like a blush, but a lot worse. So, as a teenage, how you used to blush? Because that you might have realized the guy thinks you like him or something, you blush because someone's paid you a nice compliment. Well, it's that, but a lot more intense. So I could never hide from it because my skin reflects very strongly my emotions and feelings. So for everyone, it's different from that point of view.
Okay.
So that intense emotion is like that, like you were saying when we first started, those uncomfortable emotions. So it could be anything. You just feel, like I wanted to hide. I wanted to go under the duvet. It just, life's not worth it. It's all that how can you like me? How will any clients come to me? Why would you do the art jam with me? Why would I write my memoir? So it takes you to that really space.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting because I honestly did not realize that all of that was attached to shame.
Yeah, can be.
Right?
Yes.
But it makes sense.
Yes.
And I can certainly relate to the blush, the heat rising up and like into your face, and like your ears are hot too, right? And it's like, whoa, what
Exactly.
is this?
Yes.
What is going on?
Mm,
Huh?
mm, mm.
Wow, you learn something new all the time.
That you do. And that's why I love these conversations with you, because we just put a different
Wow.
spin on them. So, and also it's interesting because what triggered this for me was, as I said, numerous things, but the last thing that took me smack into it, where I just wanted to give everything up. I'm not worth it. Nothing's worth it. Blah. Oh my God. It was like, hang on, how did I end up here again? Despite all the healing and all that. So I think it's also realizing these intense moments are always going to come. You know, it's how you deal with them and how quickly you can get out of them. So
Right.
it was, someone was giving me a critique on something I'd done, but I took it as criticism, even though the logic was, I knew, because it's a code, you know, wanting
Yeah.
to make it better for you. But
Yeah.
the old me was logic. So this is again when we talk about mindset's not always enough, or CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is not always enough. It's your thoughts. That's true. But my body had the reaction.
Oh.
So it came in and up through my body, and I could feel it all happening. I could feel myself. So I numb out. I step back. My eyes go blurry, and then I can't hear anything. So no matter how many times she said to me, "You've done really well," and all I could hear was, "You haven't done. You know, this is shit."
Okay.
So it's,
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I can totally relate to that. And I'm sure people watching can as well. Huh.
yes, yes, and I think it's really important that we. Well, I think it is important to talk, share, even if you put it out there, because again, it can be. When I was doing my writing, I realized there's shame around having shame. There's around shame around being shamed. I felt shamed when I first ever found out what shame was. So sometimes even sharing the fact that you have shame can feel shameful. You know, it can feel bad. So it takes courage to be able to come out and say, and actually say, I've lived in shame for a long time and still can. But this time round, because I was wondering what was different, why did I have this? But I realized I'm different. I can handle it better. Like I knew what I
Right.
needed to do. I had my tools, support around me. My partner always supports me anyhow, if you know. So I've come out of it a lot quicker, even though, like you were saying, these intense emotions are painful. Who wants to stand them?
Yeah, not me.
No, exactly right. Nor me.
I
So
I want to run away or yeah, like you said, hide or um just get it out of my head, right?
that's right.
Just get it out somehow.
Yes. And what I realized as you're saying that, for me, it's also not, as I'm learning more and more about the body, I want to get out of my body as well. Because as I said, there was this in German say Zwiespalt, which is there's a disconnection and or a euphoric. And you know, there's this part of it where the logic is, I know what was going on, but my body had to catch up. I had to soothe my body, as they say, this nervous system. I had to, you know, just give myself hugs and just, you know, just be with that. And then allow the two, I'm just getting that image now, allow the two to merge and be together, you know, rather than these separate things, logic versus emotion.
So what did you do then? Like to move it
Well,
through your body, I guess would be kind of an appropriate way to phrase that.
yeah, well, I suppose now that we're talking about, obviously I do my things, often I can't meditate in these places because it makes it worse. So I think
It's
we need to make things sometimes clear. I knew instinctively after the car accident for a couple of years I couldn't meditate, I couldn't do EFT tapping, and I couldn't Reiki myself, because what it did, it triggered it and made it worse. So even though I use these tools, they're not always appropriate. or can. So it's up, you've got to also work that
Right.
out. So I didn't do anything like that. So I withdrew. So I find that I need to come in. And now that I'm doing a lot more art, I came down and created this mixed media. And
Oh,
using
nice.
color. Yeah, so that's what I started. That's why now I love doing this art jam with you and starting the art, because I'm using art now
Yeah.
to help me, you know, and then exercise and eating well, and sharing with a few select people, because you need to be able to talk about it. I couldn't get in to see the psychologist because she was busy. So I needed to work with it with myself, but a few select friends, trusted,
Right.
but really trusted, and of course my partner, as I mentioned. So so again, how did you deal with it? These intense emotions.
Well, you know, honestly, sometimes the easiest way is to just tune out. So that's where
Yes. Yeah.
because I feel like I need to think about it and think it through and fix it, but I
Yes.
can't.
Yes.
So like today I put on a Hallmark movie. I actually turned on the TV and I watched a movie or part of a movie.
Yeah.
But I still kept moving. I just felt like I had to still do one little thing. It's like just do
Yes.
one little thing. So
Yes.
I took down
Yes.
the curtains in my living room and I washed them and I rehung them, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it was broken down into these little steps.
Yes.
And I didn't think about it. It wasn't a conscious thing. It was just keep moving, just keep doing little things, right? So
Yeah.
that was what I did. And I often, when I'm feeling like that, I don't want to paint. I have a hard time connecting to the paints to
Yeah.
do what I usually do. And so it feels awkward to me. But I did actually make myself come to the studio and kind of in the same way I did the curtains, you know, it was like one little step. It's like, okay, so I pulled out a canvas. And because it made me horribly nervous to do this, people do abstract art and I love watching their process. So I just slapped colors down.
This is it.
And,
Love it.
you know, I played with a spatula and I played with some brushes. And I tried really deliberately to just put colors down because I judge it. I'm like, it's like, no, that's not the point of what you're
Exactly.
doing right now. And
Oh,
then
yes.
I moved into, again, just playing.
Yes.
And it was hard. I'm going to tell you, it was hard. But then this came and this is colors I wouldn't have normally picked and combos and movements. And then I discovered I had like, I don't know, I have inks. So I pulled out all these inks and I went over things in the inks and I just let it come out.
Yes, that's it. That is it. I just let it come out. I think you made a good point because, see, because I'm still more of a beginner than you are, or have less different expectations because you're so amazing with your stuff. See, it's easier for me to come down and just play versus create something. So that's why I could come down and just know there was no shame in what I did. Like you used colors. Then I had leftover paint, and I don't like waste. So then I just used my fingers, you
Nice.
know, just used my fingers and
Yeah.
just played and had fun. So again, get it out, have fun, see what the end. I mean, yours is vibrant too. You know, there's an energy in this that's really strong, but I felt it wasn't negative because yours is stunning. That second one in particular, wow. You know, and it's amazing what can come up. You know,
Well, thank you for that. Because I've never really done anything like that. I'm not an
Yes.
abstract artist.
Yes.
So like when I see your stuff and the freedom that you have in there and just the way that you play and put things down, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Like you do it so beautifully, and I am more structured with almost everything that I make. So for me to let go of that, it was like, oh. So I mean, I did kind of think, Radine, you're already feeling uncomfortable, and now you're going to push yourself into being more uncomfortable.
Comfortable.
And I went, yeah, actually, I am. I don't know if we'll see how I feel in the morning, if it was a good thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I
But
think what you're saying is it's also about doing something. Even like I was talking to a friend about it, and she does a lot of Netflix, and she finds Facebook helps her, even though, oh, you shouldn't be doing that and that. But sometimes it's soothing. Because I agree, because I said we don't have Netflix, my partner and I, but I watched some TV, catching up on things. Do you know how it was just all I had to do was sit down, like you said. I got transported out of it for a while, and it was just like, this is okay. So, like you said, it's finding ways, or like you said, do your curtains. I did some laundry, or these things sound bizarre, but sometimes doing the mundane actually helps ground you, helps you come back into this is what everyday life is about.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's nice because there isn't any thought required per se, right, to do laundry or to do those tasks.
That's right.
And so
That's
in
right.
some ways you can still be busy, but not having to be thinking or
That's it.
analyzing or
Exactly
whatever,
right.
right?
And
Yeah.
that's in a way a practice in itself, not to analyze, because we are a very thinking, analyzing society, logic, reason, why. I used to drive myself nuts trying to work out, why was I like this? Why was that happening? Blah, blah, blah. The relief has been, now that I can just do it when I feel it's appropriate, is what a difference. Mind you, it also means staying in the emotion, because when you're analyzing, thinking, it's a bit of an avoidance
Yeah.
tactic,
Yeah.
distraction, and a bit of bypassing. You've just given me a thought as well when you do that, you know.
Yeah.
And yesterday I find I can't listen very well, concentrate, and that's a trauma response, because I'm not good at that. And you work out, I prefer to read, but I wanted to listen to someone's or a couple of webinar and a podcast. So I thought, okay, I'm feeling like this. What do I want to do? I really want to do art, but again, I don't want to think, so I want to listen and think. So what I did was I've started this and finished it. So I did a little bit of neurographics, but I actually did it with
Nice.
I'm learning. I decided to do it more. So I've got this and this, sort of these things, and then a circle.
Oh,
So I just started again playing, and then I started doing some markings, and then I've got words in there. I don't know if you can see them. Just because I'm looking at doing a reframe. So I put freedom and peace, and somewhere there's the choice. So I just did that. So like you said, just playing, and that's what I'm finishing off here today. Just playing. Now this time I'm going to really use different colors, because these are the ones that I love. So again, this is how I'm just so excited that I have finally found another way to support myself, and just loving doing it. I look through my
yeah.
art journal now, and I get excited with what I've done and how far I've come.
I think, yeah.
It's
Well, and you should
exciting.
be.
Yeah. So but it's about starting something. You've got to start from somewhere. And this is what, when I was being critiqued, is that, and she explained it so well, is that what she's doing is she's shining the diamonds. No, she's polishing the diamond so it can shine. I went, oh, I love that. Then as I've been able to hear more, because she's coming back, and I'm starting to come back into my body, she goes, it's like layer upon layer. It's like when you do art, you do layer upon layer. So it's like writing posts, or writing your memoir, or writing a blog. Like she said here, you're doing it layer upon layer. So you do the first draft. Then you tweak it to do the second draft. Then she comes in and critiques it so this is how you can improve it. This is how you can do it. So then you go to the next level. Then, you know, you make it shine again. She said, sometimes you can do that many edits, you know, until it feels right. But it's a process. But I couldn't hear that at first. I took it as not perfect. You didn't do it right. You know, therefore I'm a failure.
Right. How quickly that can happen, hey?
Oh
That
my
jump.
gosh. I suppose it's like, you know, if you're teaching with students, it's like, that's what you're teaching them, is to do something. That's what she's doing. She's teaching me, yet I had to have it perfect straight away.
Well, and I actually often I think that's probably what my students feel too, right?
Yeah.
And they don't, and you can't. And I tell them that all the time. How can you? How
Well, this
can
is
you know
exactly
these
right.
things, right? How can you
Exactly.
be good at these things when you're just learning them?
That's right. That's right. But it can be really hard to hear that. You know, that takes,
Yeah.
I feel for me, it was a practice and it's a skill to be able to hear that. So what I said to my coach with this, I'm taking a couple of weeks off. I said, I just need to come back. I feel too vulnerable to hear anymore. I trust myself to know I will go back when I'm ready. And I can feel it coming now, because each time we talk, each time she's shedding a layer of that shame, shedding that layer of that intense emotion of not feeling enough. So now I'm starting to, instead of that deep fear, I'm starting to shift it into excitement. So remember, body doesn't always know the difference between excitement and fear.
No, it doesn't.
So
Yep.
I'm turning that around. This is no longer fear, you know. So I'm feeling the excitement. Also, by learning, doing this, I'm not pushing myself. I should be, you know, doing it now. No, wait. So that's another learning, to give yourself the time and space when you feel ready. Because I don't know about you, but when I was in these intense emotions, I'd still push myself, and often push myself over the edge. You know, I didn't do anything for my mental health,
Right.
you know.
Well, and again, I mean, that's, we think that's the best way. And sometimes that's probably an appropriate thing to do, is to push.
Yes,
And then
that's
other
right.
times it isn't.
That's
But of
right.
course, sometimes the pushing is easier than the sitting and being with it, right?
That's right.
So,
That's right. And then you wonder why it keeps coming back, like, hello.
yeah.
But yeah, and I think it is, again, that fine line to know when to stop, because I knew, I could feel myself getting on that roll. I have to, I'm striving, I'm doing, I'm focusing. I could feel the overwhelm coming. So in a way, I needed to have that sort of like, stop. So like,
Yeah.
next time I'll do it earlier. So now I know, no, I really need to stop. So again, now I need to stop, trusting and having the faith that I will know. The sign will come, the body will know. You are now ready to hear that as a critique,
Right.
not as a criticism. And that'll
Mm-hmm.
be, and even when she starts to critique it, I know I'll still have a bit of a struggle, but I know it now. And it is what it is. I now know how to support myself, you know, when that happens,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting time, because even though someone might say, oh, I get it, I've been there, you know they have, but it doesn't help because you're going through it, you know.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So look
Do the
forward to hearing.
things.
Pardon?
Do the thing. Like, do the things, right? Be
Yeah.
be
And
uncomfortable.
exactly right. Be uncomfortable, but and I think also, again, we'll say it again and again, just be uncomfortable, but make sure you're safe, and you know, seek
Yeah.
the support that you need and can have, you know, at that time, because that's highly important. See, in the past I wouldn't have, because I would have felt so ashamed and embarrassed and awkward. I wouldn't ask people for help or support. I'd bottle it all up and carry on as if, you know. No, I don't do that anymore. Yet I'm mindful, I'm aware of who I have to support me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I am aware of, because, you know, sometimes just you just need to be careful, well, aware of that.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Absolutely.
okay. Yeah. Wow. It's been fun. And not fun, I shouldn't say that, but it's been, it's been, it's how can we talk? And I've been really enjoying actually doing some art, because last time I couldn't do art as I'm doing this. So isn't that interesting how, but so again, anyone wants to leave any comments, how you feel, what you revelations, gains, anything like that, please let us know, because I just think each well, just because we think it's important doesn't mean you do, but it just creates that conversation. This is why we do it, isn't it really, Rodin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go away and sit in our emotions, our discomfort.
Do some more laundry or something.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, all right. And have you got anything else you'd like to say, Rodin, or are you happy?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for watching.